Lucius Annaeus Seneca, the Stoic philosopher whose works still breathe life into modern thinking, delivered many insights that cut through the illusions of human desire. But few are as sharp and enduring as his statement. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. With this line, Seneca strikes at the heart of human dissatisfaction, revealing the psychological roots of poverty and abundance. He reminds us that wealth is not ultimately defined by possession, but by perception, not by what lies in one's pocket, but by what lives in one's mind. To understand the depth of this quote is to understand the architecture of human desire, the illusion of scarcity, and the real meaning of richness. It challenges us to question everything society praises: ambition, accumulation, progress, by exposing the silent suffering beneath them, the suffering of the man who believes he never has enough. This content explores the philosophical, psychological, and practical implications of Seneca's teaching, showing how craving, not circumstance, creates true poverty, and how contentment, not accumulation, creates true wealth. Stoicism is not anti-wealth, rather it is anti-dependence. Seneca himself was wealthy by Roman standards, and yet he wrote more passionately about indifference to wealth than many poor philosophers did. Why? Because Stoicism teaches that externals, money, property, status, belong to the category of preferred indifference. They may make life more comfortable, but they do not touch your true nature nor determine the quality of your inner life. Seneca saw how the elite of Rome were tormented by endless wants. They possessed fortunes that could buy anything except peace of mind. These were men with marble homes, yet shaky hearts, men with servants and slaves, yet enslaved to their own greed. So Seneca redefined poverty. To have little and be content is abundance. To have much and crave more is perpetual poverty. This was not rhetoric, it was diagnosis. The disease was desire without limit. The craving man carries emptiness within him, and no amount of gold can fill a bottomless pit. Psychology today confirms what Seneca observed centuries ago. Craving hijacks the mind. The moment you tie your happiness to more, you set yourself on a treadmill with no finish line. Modern research refers to this as the hedonic adaptation cycle. We obtain something, feel a burst of happiness, then quickly return to our baseline and want the next thing. The craving man suffers because he cannot enjoy what he already has. His mind lives in the future, never the present. Satisfaction is always ahead of him, but never within reach. Seneca recognized this mechanism before psychology gave it a name. He taught that the man who craves more is poor because he is never full. His inner appetite is stronger than his outer resources. Craving is rooted in scarcity thinking. Scarcity is not always the absence of resources. Often it is the belief that what one has is not enough. A man can have a stable income, a loving family, a working body, food and shelter, and a peaceful environment, yet feel impoverished because he compares himself upward. Craving rewrites reality. It blinds the mind to blessings and magnifies what is missing. Thus, Seneca is telling us a psychological truth. The poor man is not the one who lacks, but the one who feels lack. Seneca differentiates between objective lack and subjective poverty. A man may have little but feel rich because he is content with it. Another may have much but feel poor because his desires exceed his possessions. In this light, poverty becomes a mental experience, a habit of thought, a measurement scale distorted by craving. The craving man evaluates life using the wrong yardstick. He measures what he does not have instead of what he does.
The Stoics believed that comparison is the thief of inner peace, and craving is comparison turned inward. Seneca often writes that the man ruled by desire is a slave, even if he is socially powerful. Why? Because craving controls him. It pushes him into endless work. It makes him vulnerable to flattery. It opens him to fear, anxiety, and manipulation. It destroys his ability to be present. It keeps him dependent on external circumstances. A craving mind is never free. It is chained to imagined futures. Seneca writes elsewhere, "He who needs riches least enjoys riches most." In other words, the man who is not dependent on wealth is the only one mentally stable enough to use it wisely. Almost every spiritual system teaches the value of enough. Buddhism calls craving the root of suffering. Christianity warns against greed as a soul-destroying vice. Islam teaches that contentment is a treasure. Hinduism speaks of detachment from material cravings. Seneca's wisdom aligns with all of these. Poverty is not lack of possessions, but lack of peace. The craving man lives in spiritual exile. He cannot taste the sweetness of life because his tongue is busy longing for something else. A simple meal cannot satisfy him because he is thinking of a richer one. A modest home cannot comfort him because he imagines a grander one. A real life cannot bless him because he is too attached to an imagined one. If Seneca could see the modern world, he would nod knowingly. Never in history have humans had more, yet never have they felt poorer. Advertising creates artificial desire. You didn't know you needed a bigger phone until the new one appeared. You didn't feel insecure about your clothes until fashion trends changed. You didn't feel your life was inadequate until social media gave you comparisons. Thus, craving is externally fed. Companies profit when you feel you are not enough without a purchase. The modern world weaponizes desire. Seneca's line becomes a shield against psychological manipulation. When he says the craving man is poor, he warns us that craving makes us controllable. Wealth today is largely performative. People curate their lives online to produce a highlight reel. The result? People crave lifestyles they don't truly want. They feel behind in life because of illusions. They lose gratitude for simple but real joys. Social media amplifies craving, and craving amplifies poverty. Seneca's words act like medicine. Refuse the illusion that more is always better. Define wealth on your own terms, or you will inherit someone else's dissatisfaction. Craving has a temporal cost. By looking forward constantly, the craving man loses now. He cannot enjoy his food because he wants finer food. He cannot enjoy his home because he wants a larger home. He cannot enjoy his earnings because he wants higher earnings. He cannot enjoy himself because he wants to be someone else. Thus, craving is theft. It steals the present moment. Seneca taught us that time is the only real wealth and the only thing humans truly own. If craving robs a man of his present, then he is impoverished in the deepest way. If the craving man is poor, then who is rich? Seneca offers the Stoic answer. The man who wants little, needs little, and is grateful for much. This man is immune to comparison, is anchored in sufficiency, enjoys what he has, is not threatened by loss, is not controlled by excess desire, is psychologically stable, is spiritually grounded. Ironically, this man is more capable of experiencing genuine pleasure because he does not chase it. Stoicism does not ask us to reject pleasure, it asks us not to be ruled by it. Contentment becomes a superpower, one that makes you unshakable. Modern neuroscience explains why craving is infinite. Craving is driven by dopamine, not satisfaction. Dopamine wants pursuit, not possession. When you obtain what you desire, dopamine drops, satisfaction briefly spikes, then your brain seeks a new target. This biological mechanism explains why craving is a trap. You can feed it, but you cannot fulfill it. Seneca understood this intuitively. His philosophy was not anti-pleasure, it was anti-addiction to desire. Seneca's quote is not merely descriptive, it is prescriptive. It teaches us how to live. Here are Stoic practices that help break the cycle of craving. Practice voluntary simplicity. Choose moments of deliberate simplicity. Take a cold shower. Eat a basic meal. Use your older phone. Wear simple clothes. Seneca practiced this often. It trains the mind to realize, I can be okay with less. I do not depend on luxury.
This defangs craving. Daily gratitude inventory. Write down 3 things you have today that you once prayed for. Gratitude interrupts craving by reminding you of abundance. Negative visualization. The Stoics imagined losing what they had, not to create fear, but appreciation. When you envision absence, presence becomes sweeter. Set desire limits. Seneca taught, if you do not know what is enough, nothing will ever be enough. Define your enough. Enough income to live well, enough possessions to function, enough goals to grow, enough relationships to feel connected. Your life becomes clearer when it is not stretched by infinite wants. The craving man is so focused on the horizon that he misses the ground beneath his feet. He could have a fulfilling life, meaningful relationships, good health, and opportunities, yet all of this becomes invisible under the shadow of desire. The more you want, the less you see. The more you crave, the less you feel. The more you grasp, the less you hold. Seneca's wisdom reveals this paradox. Craving shrinks life. True wealth is measured by tranquility of mind, depth of relationships, health of body, clarity of purpose, mastery over desires, ability to enjoy the present. Money contributes to some of these, but cannot buy them outright. If a man has these, he is wealthy even in modest circumstances. If he lacks them, he is poor even in luxury. Seneca's quote empowers us to redefine wealth internally, not externally. Craving creates anxiety, fear of not attaining, jealousy, others have what I crave, greed, I must accumulate more, dependence, I need external things to feel okay, restlessness, never satisfied. This is not wealth, it is bondage. The Stoic message is clear. Freedom is not the ability to acquire anything, it is the ability to need nothing. Here are steps to immediately embody Seneca's wisdom. Identify one craving that causes stress, reduce it. Notice something you already have that once felt like a dream, honor it. Simplify one area of your life today, feel the peace it brings. Reject unnecessary comparison. Wealth is not a competition. Remind yourself, what I have is enough for today. I do not need more to feel whole. Repeat these practices and you will feel internal wealth rising, not because external circumstances changed, but because your relationship with desire changed. Seneca is telling us a truth about human existence. You become poor the moment you believe you do not have enough. You become rich the moment you honor what you already have. Poverty is an inner emptiness. Wealth is an inner fullness. Craving empties, contentment fills. This is why a beggar can smile deeply and a millionaire can weep quietly. It is why wisdom traditions emphasize simplicity, gratitude, and moderation. Seneca is not condemning wealth, he is liberating you from the psychological prison of craving. Seneca's words echo through time because they describe a timeless human flaw.
the inability to appreciate the present due to an obsession with the future. The craving man is poor because he is blind to his own blessings, trapped in perpetual hunger. The contented man is rich because he possesses the rarest treasure, peace. When you internalize Seneca's wisdom, you reclaim your power from external things. You learn to walk lightly, to breathe fully, to enjoy fully, to live without the weight of bottomless desires. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. This line becomes a compass pointing toward inner freedom. When desire is mastered, you stop chasing wealth and start living richly. When craving dissolves, abundance appears everywhere. Seneca's lesson, then, is simple and life-changing. True wealth begins not with more possession, but with less craving.